6 months to the general election. That remains the law, and that must be complied with. So that should remove any doubt to those who think there's a judgment of the court that will allow them to work until the last day. Let them leave, resign and go, and let other Kenyans take those positions. The Commission, in compliance with Sections 18 and 19 of the Election Campaign Financing Act of number 42 of 2013, set expenditure limits for candidates and parties for the 2022 general elections. The limits set by the Commission have been sent to the government printer for publication in the Kenya Gazette. The Commission wishes to notify the public that provisions of Section 18 of the Act gives the Commission authority to vary the limits by notice in the Gazette, so that when the publication comes out, any stakeholder who wishes to seek variation is free to inform the Commission, and that then will be considered. I also wish to state that in the year 2016, actually on 25th of July 2016, the Commission submitted to Parliament the election campaign financing regulations, which to date have not been approved and or enacted. And we are urging Parliament to approve and enact these regulations so that we can have a smooth operation of the election financing act, Election Campaign Finance Act. 22 general election, the Commission prepared budget and requires 40.329 billion to carry out all activities in the election operation plan. And we require a further 588 million for purpose of procuring items to be used in the COVID-19 protocols, which include the thermometer guns, sanitizers, soap, and washing points, which brings the total election budget to 40.917 billion. As you are aware, we have been allocated 26.34 billion by National Treasury, and there is leaving a deficit of 14.577 billion, which means that we're falling short, so that you have cases where activities like mass voter registration, which require 30 days, it means we have cut down to 15 days. We expected to cut down on the staff at the polling stations. All these activities are based on the legal framework. You cannot have 3 clerks instead of 6. So this amount we're asking for is actually the bare minimum, and we're urging National Treasury to provide sufficient funds so that the activities of the Commission in managing the elections are not disrupted. As I conclude, I wish to encourage each one of us to keep alive this conversation on elections preparation, so that Kenyans are well informed of the processes and activities within the election calendar. And I wish all of us a fruitful engagement, because they are our main source of funding. Is actually our only source. And we have been holding meetings, and we hope that we should be able to be given sufficient monies in due course. Otherwise, we may have to cut down on activities like mass voter registration. Instead of 30 days, we have to reduce 15, which again is not sufficient period, because there are many Kenyans who are not registered out there. There are many 18 and above. An estimate of about 5 to 6 million Kenyans need to be registered and be reached out to. And then a lot of other sacrifices will be done. Like we've been paying wages of 1,000 since 2013. Up to now, the wage for clerks is 1,000. So what happens then? If you tell us that cut down the wages from 6 billion to 3 billion to 3 billion, as the the acting CEO has told you. These are clerks who are, as we employ them based on the regulations in existence. There has to be a clerk for this, a clerk for that. Now, are you then going to reduce them to half and pay them less? So those are things that we must discuss as a country. And this is what we're telling the National Treasury. This is a budget based on the legal framework. You cannot have a polling station of more than 700 voters. If, for example, it was 1,000 or 2,000, then the cost would automatically go down. You'll have less polling stations. But these are matters which are captured in the law. You can therefore not break the law because it has consequences on the results of the election. So as a commission, we're engaging National Treasury and Parliament to that extent, and we hope that this then will be sorted out. Why counting took so long? Is that the question in Juja? Kiamba, sorry. And Muguga and others. The counting is done at polling station. And if you are there on the ground counting, I think starting at 5 p.m., the clerks in the polling station convert themselves into counting clerks. And by 6:37, most of the counting had been done and results had been announced. So counting of results doesn't take long. It will only take long in the general election because the clerks must count six ballot papers for 6 different positions. What took long in those respective areas is the issue of tallying at the tallying center. I think because of the communication and mobility and a lot of disputes that were the tension which had been created by the stakeholders. But I want to say that the media then, and that's what we said in our presentation, should cover this tallying, counting of ballot papers in the polling stations, and also help us to highlight what then could be done at the constituency tallying center. So I believe then, Professor, you can pick it up. Have I answered the question on the ballot papers, the counting? Yes. I believe so. Thank you.
Yes, you have.